Okay. Hopefully, Aniekan Johnson joins us on the show. He's a community development advocate and a public affairs commentator. I'm hoping he's able to make it to the show this morning. Today on the show, we will discuss the Electoral Offences Bill. Sell your vote or your voter card and go to jail for 10 years. It's one of the contents of this regulation or bill, if you want to call it that. All right. So the Election Offences Bill was passed by the Senate on Tuesday. The bill is for the establishment of the Electoral Offences Commission. Now, the approval of the commission followed the consideration of the report by the Senate Committee on Independent National Electoral Commission. The function of this Electoral Offences Commission includes that they will have to investigate electoral offences. It doesn't stop there. After investigating, they are saddled with the responsibility of prosecuting electoral offenders. And guess what? It doesn't also end there as well. They will also have the records of these offenders when prosecuted. Penalties would be there for them as well. And lots more that they've got to do. That's going to be the function of the National Electoral Offences Commission, which will come into existence the moment the president signs this bill. Now, remember before now, this used to be INEC's job. Some persons think it's just too enormous for INEC to be, focusing on conducting elections for us and also thinking of prosecuting electoral offenders. Some persons say they shouldn't be saddled with that responsibility of going to court and trying to try electoral offenders and everything. It's too much. Do you also think it's too much? I don't know. I'd like to hear from you this morning. Now, this is what we know about the Electoral Offences Bill. I better listen. Get closer to your radio right now or your phone and listen properly. Anyone caught engaging in electoral fraud, according to this bill, if prosecuted successfully, will go to jail for 5 years or pay 10 million naira fine. I don't know if you have that money. As a voter, you have your PVC and you're caught selling your PVC, you'll get 10 years in jail. Yeah, 10 years in jail for selling your PVC. Now, if you're just a voter, you want to vote on election day or any other day, and somebody else's PVC is found on you, you go jail. Non-negotiable. You go Sanko. That's what they call it, right? You go and chill there. As in the PVC that they find on you, let me say it in pidgin. The PVC where they find for your hand carry another person's name. You go jail. So if you're one of those people that, now I work with that, make chairman just ready, may settle us, more runner. You also start to prepare pillow where you carry to go prison if this one pass. So prepare your mind. If you're now someone that documents such as voter register, why am I mixing that up? Voter register is found on you. Straight up, 10 years. But it's not a long time before you know it will finish. But at least you don't go first. Just may you know.
I'm the ex-convict.
At least when you come out, if you can't sing that kind of song, you can sing that here. Locked up, you can't sing it. Now, for any person who is planning to prevent people from voting at the polling station, let's say maybe an election officials, those in charge of counting and getting the place set for people to vote and other things, then the electoral official decides not to count ballot papers or willfully prevents anybody from voting. If that person is caught, 10 years straight. So if you're one of those persons that will say, my just there's officer for the election, one political party go just near me, just sort me, they'll just give me the envelope and then they give normal. Then I go decide who go vote and who not go vote. All their people go just line up, they'll just vote. This other people will not agree to me, they not vote. You just prepare your mind. Then catch you. Bye. 10 years. So just imagine that you're 20, for instance. By the time you come out, you go down 30. If you're 35 already, by the time you come out, you go down 45.
No, that envelope won't collect. You think you'll feed that?
they'll keep on for you when you come out. That's but for real.
These guys
All
are
right?
all smiling.
If you're one of those people that your job not to just go polling unit, just go stand front your face, people know you, so then they fear because they know the political party where you belong to. So then they fear. They know say they just come there.
They form Mike Tyson.
You understand? Everybody don't know where to align. I better change your job description now. Find better work, take your time to do, because if they catch you.
Those ones that used to go and gym ahead of the elections.
Kill away. If they catch you, problem for you. For real. Problem for you. You willfully prevent eligible voters from voting, willfully refusing to count ballot papers, willfully counting ballot papers that are not valid, or any electoral official that declares a false result at an election. This one, I like it. They upped the ante here. 15 years. Straight. No less.
For misleading the people.
15 years. 15 years. Now, the Senate also gave 15 years jail term or 30 million naira fine at least, which means that the court can decide that it will be more than that too. 30 million naira at least for any security personnel or election official that is working for INEC or a state independent electoral commission who engages in actions that could influence the outcome of an election. I told you, 15 years straight at least, or 30 million naira fine, or the court can decide to put the both of them together, 15 years and 30 million naira fine. That's what will happen to you. If you are found disturbing the peace at a polling unit, or you go about saying vote for Yugee, vote for Charles Akpan, vote for Harry Udoh,
or you say election no go whole year. He no go.
If you're caught, 6 months in jail. If you're caught,
That was one.
6 months. 6 months.
Those who are regular in prison will just say, is it not 6 months?
Is it not 6 months? Let's go and do it and go, right? If you're one of those that go to polling unit to go and start clapping hand and playing drum, you wear t-shirts that's carrying Yugee's face.
6 months.
You're going to be playing drum and clapping hand. Vote Yugee. If you vote Yugee today, life go better. Vote you.
Even those where they wear people uniform.
Now they talk. You wear my face on your chest with my political party.
On election day.
On election day, go there.
6 months.
6 months. At least before you come out, maybe sense go don't enter your head. You learn how people they behave for polling units.
What if you don't even know that it's an offense?
And now you know. That's why we're talking about it this morning. It's going to be an offense moving forward.
Loud the volume.
Turn up the volume on your radio and listen now. All right? This one is very interesting. If you are caught defaming a candidate, and this one I'm saying it loud because our politicians, they are very notorious for this one. They come all guns blazing. They don't even try to do it softly. They go all frontal. If you are caught this time, 10 years in jail. Straight up. Whether you're doing it on your own or you are doing it for any organization or political party. Even if you're not the candidate and you're doing it on behalf of the candidate, it's 10 years. 10 years because you're going to get arrested, you're going to get prosecuted. If you fail to provide proof or evidence of everything you've said to malign the person of that candidate, 10 years. And it's what they told me to say, 10 years. It's what they wrote for me and gave to me to go and say in the radio or TV. 10 years.
Come.
It's what they gave to me to post on Facebook.
Ugo, this thing where he does the real out. These things.
No, but we don't shout since.
Are we going to do a billboard to publish these things at strategic places so that people will take note? 2023 is not far away.
The people where they go Facebook, go post every time. This is the kind of information that you should spread now.
Yeah.
Politicians should also use their social media platforms to spread this information.
Nobody will
gather your support groups and tell them, may they not go put you for trouble on the day of the election.
And that cuts out the work of civil society for them as well, because this is where they come in.
Civil society would also.
That's why we brought you here.
That's why you're here.
So that they disseminate the information to everyone.
Now, there's also a 5-year jail term for soliciting vote. I'm not figuring out right. Vote for Eugene. 5K. Because if you vote now, just show me the ballot paper. Just this time, show me. Police there. Turn on this other way. Okay. I can't collect your money.
Canada de Mesa.
5 years.
5 years old.
5 years. Just for whispering. You don't vote my candidate. I tell you not vote Yugee.
5 years.
Then let's talk about the biggest one. There is a 20-year jail term for anyone caught snatching ballot boxes.
Baga.
If you're a candidate and you feel that voting is not going your way, and then you now decide to send people, or you now go there, let's not talk about sending people, you now go there to snatch, or maybe you send people to go and snatch for you. They snatch ballot boxes and then they damage them either before, during, or after voting. 20 years straight, or 40 million naira fine. Or maybe the court will even decide to put the both of them together.
But Ugo, the law did not actually include those who sent such persons on errand.
If you provide evidence that you were sent.
Okay.
If you provide evidence that you were sent, wahala for who send you follow.
Oh, really? That person
you.
will go 20.
Now the court will now decide what will happen to that person. We send you.
We use it.
But
it's on discretion.
The bill did not mention. But if you provide evidence, say somebody send you, the court can look that matter by then.
Do you know that if you provide evidence, how you go take proof and say the person send you? Is your word against the person?
Now the evidence.
Now you were foolish Congo, you go snatch ballot paper. Now you go take your head, carry them. So it's to tell you that not be every errand you go wrong. It's not every errand you run.
Well, pretty interesting this morning. These are some parts of the electoral offences bill. If the president signs it was passed on Tuesday. If the president signs it, it becomes law. All right. So we'd like to hear from you this morning. Do you have any reservations as regards any of these punitive measures? Do you think it's less? Do you want them to increase some of them? They should step it up, maybe from 6 months to 12 months or 18 months. Would you want that to happen?
Or move it from 30 million naira, 40 million naira to 50 or 100, so that the person won't be able to pay for 2 or 3 persons.
Would you want that to happen? All right. What also do you think is missing from this bill? What do you think is missing? We would like to hear from you this morning. Do you have concerns about how this is going to be implemented? That's a major part, because Nigeria, we have laws. My friend would always say, laws without implementation are but mere musical instruments. So do you have concerns?
Ugo, something is missing. Before you ask the people, something is missing. They just came up now. That law doesn't cover. The bill doesn't cover. They did not introduce penalties for politicians who are in contest.
That's why we need people to talk about it.
After casting their vote,
they now start going to another.
They start going to another polling unit. That law should have
to go and support the boys there.
Added that one.
Then they go to maybe they move from
one local government to another local government.
To another local government to go and see how the boys are doing.
Should have included that one.
So let us know what you think about all of this morning. Harry Udoh is right here. I'm glad he understands that civil society has a huge role to play in all of this morning. You can join us. Remember that. You know the phone lines already. But let's start off with Harry this morning. And first off, my concern is we have the Independent National Electoral Commission. Would it have been better to set up a unit within INEC that deals with this, as against setting up a commission? Because you're going to employ people in that commission. We're already talking about government payroll being overbloated. You have too many people working for government, especially at the national level, and so the wage bill is huge. Would it have been easier? Would it have been better? Is it too much work for INEC to do as the electoral umpire?
Well, I wouldn't be looking at it from the point of view of it being there being too much work for INEC to handle. You know, their job already is humongous, as you would see, going from elections to elections and all the things that are involved with it.
Well, apart from the general elections that happens together, other elections that you have, maybe one here, Udoh, Anambra, I think Kogi also.
Elections planning and implementation is a huge job, and then when you also consider the fact that INEC officials could also flout this law, that's just been put out, then you don't want to be the judge and arbiter of your own self. You know, so we've always advocated that there should be a commission. You've had over the years situations where there's been electoral malpractices, evident for everyone to see, and no one gets prosecuted because INEC sometimes feels it's cumbersome and it will be distracting to them if they get involved in court matters and while preparing for it, even if they have a unit specifically set out for that. So it's important, and that's what we've been saying, we've been advocating for, that we should have this commission. We've been advocating also that there should be special courts to handle electoral offenses so that there's speedy, judicious, adjudication of these matters when it comes up. So I think it's a good thing that they are having this commission now. And when you look at it from the point of view of wage bill, you could also, you agree with me that there are some MDAs that have staff that actually aren't doing anything. They can begin to pull from different MDAs, key personnel with relevant qualification into this commission without needing to employ new persons. But when you look at it again from the point of view of creating employment, then you want to also, have that agency of government, to that commission to be a vehicle for reducing the unemployment rate within the country. But when you have to also consider the fact that when we talk about the wage bill, it's not the wage bill of civil servants that is the problem for the government. It's the wage bill of the politicians. So if you reduce what the senators and the House of Rep members take home, you can fund this commission massively with some surplus to take to the covers of government. So
Okay.
ab initio, this is a good bill that they've passed, and would pray that the president
It's passed already. It's just the president's signature.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. And that has been passed, and we hope that the president will assent to it speedily, and then the commission set up, because 2019 is, like Charles mentioned earlier, is just around the corner.
2023.
2023, yes,
Yeah, okay.
just around the corner.
Okay. Well, phone lines are already buzzing. Looks like too many people have got something to say this morning.
It's about politics.
let's
So
begin to
what do you
hear.
expect? Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Stanley
Yugee.
Chigala.
Yeah, good morning to everyone in the house.
Good morning.
Yeah, please, I want to make a comment on this bill that's about to be passed into law.
Has been passed.
It has
It
been
has been passed.
passed.
It's about to be
law.
signed.
It's about to be signed.
Yes, thank you again. Well, I think there's so much that you read from the bill and everything. I think they focus more on the person carrying out this act. They should bear in mind that these people do not just go out to do all these things on their own. People send them. What happens to those people? I mean, they should include them in the punishment and everything. It shouldn't be just for people carrying out this act, because I believe they are the politicians themselves that are sending these people. So why leaving them just like that and think about people carrying out the act is unfair. I think the long way to go about it, they're just trying to manage this whole situation. It still will not solve the issues we are having with our election and all of that. Even they should put it in such a way that if court you serve a life sentence, it still would not stop it. Because the truth of the fact is that they've turned the politics and the governance into a business venture. There is so much to be taken home. When they make the politics and the whole process less expensive, or make it not, it shouldn't be like a business venture where you come and invest during elections, and when you're voted into the office, you need to get your money back. Then all these things will not go away. Like you can imagine now, you said that from the bill, they've extended the 5 million for governorship to how much? I think was it 15 million you said, and 5 billion to 15 billion.
From 1 billion to 5 billion for governorship spending for elections, and yeah.
You can just imagine that is huge amount. That means the commoners cannot say, okay, I want to go into politics. I want to vie for this position. You are not able to do that because of so much money that's involved. And if let's say for instance, okay, I cannot afford the money, and somebody there or some person says, okay, you want to sponsor me. By the time I get there, they want to get their money back. So what are we talking about? They've turned the whole process into a business venture.
Okay.
There's no way I will spend that as a person. There's no way I will spend that much to go into power and I get there. I not want to get my money back. I want to do everything I can to get my money back. So these are not. They're just like chasing shadows. They should chase the main thing. They should, it's expensive for anybody that is willing to go and serve should go there. Not because I want to put this, because I have what it takes to serve the people. That's what should be obtainable.
All
Not
right,
coming up
Stanley.
with all of these laws and everything. No matter how they place the laws, people will still get to jack ballot boxes and everything. To see the best.
All right.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us this morning. Do try to keep it as short as possible. We would appreciate 0700-1069-0902 225-5088. If you're watching on Facebook, you can just leave your comments on Facebook. We will do that this morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. Charles, morning.
Good morning to you.
Yes. Yeah, if only they will allow our vote to count, we won't end up in bad governance. Giving the rule and the law is not a problem. They giving the law and the rule, they are the ones to break it. Here you get. Yes, they want to do the same want to break it. A common man can't just come and wake up someday and think of breaking the law. It is well. So I don't.
Okay. All right. Mommy Excel, thank you for sharing.
Say a common man cannot just wake up to decide to go and commit electoral fraud when there is hunger in town and when the big man gives them hope. Don't worry, when I get in there.
Is there an excuse for committing crime? Don't you know that it's crime that you're going to commit? When somebody calls you and says,
Ugo,
come and go to
Ugo,
I want to send you to Rogan and
between
box.
December 31 and today, now that we are talking, I can't remember when last you went to your village.
You want me to tell you when last
If
time?
I should take you to your village by Friday evening and then Saturday morning you go to the interior part where there is abject poverty,
my village is still
where
a
you
village
give
till tomorrow.
somebody 2,000 naira and the prayers the person will pray for you, you won't pray until you leave, and after you left, then election day comes. My brother, it's easy to speak English.
No, but I
There
get
is
broke.
hunger
I get broke most times, and I don't
a lot
think
of people
crime.
don't know the law. They don't know the things, the implication of things they do.
It's the enlightenment
We're in a
you
society
have,
that
your perception about life and your education that's giving you that perspective. So you're broke rather than look for rather than volunteer yourself, to be used as a tool to truncate, for instance, elections. You rather want to look for.
We've got finally Aniekan Johnson joining us on the show this morning. He's a community development advocate and a public affairs commentator. Thank you so much, Aniekan, for making it.
Thank you for having me. My street last night it rained heavily, so as I stepped out to come here, I slept. Thank God I'm here, safe and sound.
You slept?
Yeah, so I had to go back to get.
So you had a swim and then had to go back.
Sorry about
So
that.
I apologize for coming in late. Thank you for.
But let's look at this bill already signed, already passed into law on Tuesday. It's just waiting the assent of the president to make it a legal paper that can be used in court. What do you think? There's been so many concerns. Some people say that it doesn't deal with the gladiators. It just focuses all of the punitive measures on the people that are recruited as against the recruiter.
You notice the last two colors. It shows that there's a lot of information now within the communities. The people are aware as to what's going on. So, if you listen to what they have said, it's business. It's a business setup. So, the corporate is now the one that is executing what the perpetrator is asking the person to do. Now, but this is government stand to be able to also give information out there that if you're caught, this is what awaits you. To a great extent, it will limit. To a great extent, to a large extent, it can be used to advise people at the community level. Listen, if you do it and you're caught, and so people will advise themselves. But see, democracy in Nigeria, I keep saying it, I will say it, it's never about the people. The people cannot be invited. They need to be involved. There are two ways to it. If you're waiting for the gladiators to invite you, then you will never have democracy. There's no good governance without the people being part of it. It is not currently people participatory. So you discover a process just lifted from somewhere and dropped in the public space, and people just so to go about it. The people are not organized themselves. They are waiting for a certain commissioner was appointed to come and show leadership. That cannot work. The people must be organized themselves at the community level, because where people are organized, look at thrifting in the Are you thrifting, for instance, in the communities? Nobody defaults. You don't need to go to the police when you're involved in thrift at the community level.
Yeah.
There's no policing. There's no police involved at that level. There's discipline because everyone understands what's involved. Until our people at the community level bother about good governance, we will not get it. All of these laws is nice, it's good. I mean, but it's a deterrent. It serves as a benchmark. So if you go beyond here, you'll be punished. But how many people that were involved in election malpractice in 2019 were punished? For instance, in Akpan. I mean, we heard of that lecturer that was sued and all of that. I'm sure it's because the person was not actually on the side of the sitting government. Okay, so but these things are happening every day. My point is that the people have got to organize themselves at the community level and desire and decide based on their desire what they want. Because it's not about the party. The party and the electoral body have a benchmark. They have their whatever they have in place for election. The people themselves must organize themselves to say, listen, in this village, this is what we want to in pursuit of good governance. In our community, we have 368 communities put together in Akpan, for instance. What do we want? How do we want to get what? Okay, for instance, what's the plan? What's our development plan? How do we get about it in the next 5 years, in the next 7 years? And that will have to do a lot with whoever we send to represent us at every level of governance.
Well, I agree in part with Aniekan Johnson that participation is key. And that there are key stakeholders. When I say key stakeholders, I'm not just looking at politicians. That should engineer and galvanize participation. The citizens themselves should realize that they are part of government. The government works, state actors work assiduously to ensure that they keep the people away, from participating through different measures and all of that they put out to dissuade people, to frustrate participation. But you see, modern governance is about participation, and that's why the World Bank, the UN, and all of that are coming up with the various programs to increase participation of citizens in governments. For instance, the citizens' budget. If the budget is for the citizens, then the citizens must be able to say, this is what I want. So those are some of the programs going on right now, and in this state, that is taking some good shape. But I also believe that the law is good. This law that has been passed by the Senate, and I hope that the president assents very quickly, because just putting what XLFN is doing right now, putting this information out, would help to dissuade those people we just described here, the Akpu people, the people who lift weights, who prepare themselves, their importance and relevance around election times.
Mr. Harvey, sorry to cut you. Before this particular bill, this new bill that has been passed, before it came into fruition, not in totality anyway, because the president has not accepted to it. Now, we had information. We had a law that says if you snatch a ballot box, they will cancel elections in that particular.
And it wasn't done.
It
wasn't the case in most but
if you snatch, they will cancel.
Yeah,
when they cancel, it's at the detriment of the person whose stronghold they snatch the ballot box.
And that's why they did not go to those places and comment.
It did not deter the people.
We even saw the president say, if you catch to security agencies, if you catch anybody snatching ballot box, shoot at sight.
Yes,
it still didn't.
Did it stop people from engaging in it? That's why I'm telling you that if you go back to your village, those people there, in fact, not even village, even in the city centers, you still have people like that who will still indulge. They say, how much is it? Is it not 10 years?
The reason is that nobody saw anybody go to prison. And I was even going to say, when Hugo was reading out the law or the bill, there are some that said 6 months, and it was like, oh, that's really small. 6 months.
For someone who is regular in prison.
But the truth is, you truncate your future. You become an ex-convict. Whether it's 1 month.
Is the person thinking of it that way?
And these are things that we need to push out. You need to understand. Because once you are in prison, even for 1 month, you've been convicted. You're an ex-convict.
Well, if you're given a step pardon after, what happens?
No, let me play a scenario.
You can be given a step
Imagine your leader, a commissioner telling you, listen, this is what you're going to do. Most of the people in the villages they are actors, bandwagon in that case. And so they believe totally what the leader is saying. That's why I'm saying the people themselves have got to be organized back home and desire certain, advancement, progress, and then draw a benchmark. This is what we're going to, so that whoever comes in, even if it's the governor that's given a counter instruction to what the community has said, they will not obey. That's the point, and that's exactly what needs to happen. Even the electoral body, I believe that the orientation should actually happen at the community level. To involve, get them at the community level involved, to understanding that good governance is about the people. If you do not participate, if you're not part of the process, you can't just be part of executing an election. But you've got to be part of the process.
And I can, given the voter apathy we normally witness,
which is even the reason.
Are you sure this law is not going to force people not to go to the polling units?
Look, there's been increased citizens' participation in elections in recent times. Take Akpan Ibom, for instance. Forget the result declared in 2015, where everybody that registered to vote voted, and even some more. All right, but take the 2019 result. All right, where you find what it normally is. Look at the Southwest. Look at their results. You will know that even if it seems like there is manipulation, you see that it's reasonable. And you can be convinced by the result you see. Yeah. So you have 100 people registered to vote, and on election day, 35 votes. Because some may be sick, some may be out of town, some would have grown old, and all of that. So they don't come out to vote. There could be one reason or the other. But when you have a situation where 100 people registered to vote in a polling unit and 120 voted, that tells you a lot of story. But there's been, this increase because of awareness of the people. At election time, people get paid to go vote. So people now, rather than snatch ballot papers, they receive the payment. We were on radio with Charles during the election when we were receiving calls that, they are giving people, when you vote, you get a certain amount of money here. I stepped out to go and also observe the election. I saw that people will vote and walk towards a certain area where they go and come out and walk home. The elections in Akpan Ibom State was peaceful to that extent. We were discussing this issue in Abuja, and I talked about elections votes being bought. And at the end of the day, the general consensus was, it's a phase. The phase of snatching ballot boxes is gone. We are now in a phase where the political actors recognize the fact that with the evolution of the INEC processes is become more difficult, and with the law in place to snatch ballot boxes and just thumbprint, and so they realize the importance of the electorate, so they campaign for them to come out and vote and induce them with the money that they give to them. That's a phase, and suddenly they realize the importance of the electorate. That a time will come, and I'm thinking it's coming, where the vote you cast will be for the person who tells you what he's going to do. It will be about good governance, not about the money you collect. That phase will come. We pray it comes soon. But what we need with this law, we need convictions. Let the president assent. Let there be, and that's why I'm happy that the commission is being set up. Their job is to ensure that those guys who flout the law, they face the due process of the law, get convictions, get thrown to jail. You see the issue of corruption in the country today. If people were if past governors, are thrown into jail, like Zuma is in prison now, even though he's for contempt of court, not refusing to obey the invitation of the court to come defend himself. But that's the starting point. He knows that it's not bigger than the system. And so if we have past governors thrown into prison, past presidents thrown into prison in this country, now the current ones will begin to think, I don't want to leave this palace and go to the prison. I don't want to leave grace to grass. So we need this law. Let's see it work. Let's see people go to jail. Because like the last election, like Charles will tell you, we were there on radio and we were getting, people were stopping people from voting. There were instances where people voted and they checked, you voted against the party that I'm standing for. They brought out those and mutilated them. So they became, void votes in the end. So those are kinds of things that happen. We need, you see, good governance will come when the will and intent of the people come to play during elections.
Okay,
Until then, we won't have good governance.
Charles, you know, in response, voter apathy is a serious concern. And that's why I said the institutions around election, especially INEC, needs to involve the people. The idea of getting university lecturers to serve as returning officers, it shouldn't just be limited to the university lecturers, or from that institution. We can now begin to look at the community leaders, that's the paramount rulers. We can get the people's confidence, because when the political parties set up some coup d'etat and select a particular candidate over what the people wanted within that political party, and we're limited to 2 parties, the rest of the people are they've lost confidence in the process already. So to re-engineer their confidence, you need to allow the people to be involved in the whole process of electioneering, and that way you discover that you will get an improved participation by the people in elections in this country.
Talking about university lecturer, one is in court already because the case resumes today.
Yeah. One has been jailed and the other is in court.
So that serves as a deterrent. So spread it. Get to traditional rulers. Get them involved in also teach the people. Let the people be involved in this process at the community level.
Okay. Well, 0700-1069-0902-225-5088. We're coming back to you at this point. Talk to us. Do you have reservations as regards any of these punitive measures on the bill? We told you about them at the start of the show. Would you like them to add more punitive measures? Or what do you think is missing, from the bill in terms of punitive measures? Do you have concerns as to the implementation of these laws? What do you think? Share with us this morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. This is Victor calling from Udoh.
Victor from Udoh, talk to us.
Yes, what I want to say, the law is a good law when the president finally gives his assent. But the area I want to look at is, for instance, the election of the governor and the president. If somebody denies ballot box for the president or for the presidential candidate or the governorship candidate, and finally the person he makes at the governor or the president, now a time comes when the president wants to exercise that section of the constitution that talks about prerogative of mercy. Can the president exercise that authority on that person, on the governor, to show mercy, that prerogative of mercy, and then come out? I want to know, because sometimes
let them be jailed first.
Let them
go to jail first. Prerogative of mercy is far away from here.
Just get done first, Victor.
Okay, because the president, maybe somebody is contesting for governor, president, he may assure the boys that even if they convict you, when the time comes, along as I will decide that prerogative of mercy and bring you out. Thank you.
All right,
okay,
Victor.
I got
No
you.
problem.
That's not a lie. I think there are in some cases that you hear.
Far-sighted thought there.
Yes.
Exactly. It's the case. It's been going on. Because whatever the leader says.
One of the
like
callers
law.
earlier took
Hello,
one of them.
Sorry. Hello, good morning.
Just hold.
Yugee, good morning.
Good morning.
Harry, good morning. Aniekan, good morning.
brother.
Good morning.
My name is Emmanuel. I call from Udoh.
All right, Emmanuel.
Charles, it's a pleasure talking to you this morning.
Yeah, nice
Let
hearing
me
your
go straight to the electoral bill.
Okay.
There was this popular demand and cry that military people shouldn't go to electoral venues, and then the police should not go armed to electoral units. How do we intend to arrest those who would come to ferment trouble who are heavily armed? This is the aspect which this law may not have envisaged. Because, yes, we are looking at democracy, we are looking at civil rights, we are trying not to militarize elections.
Okay.
But we also know that those people who are fermenting trouble are themselves militarized. So when we begin to do this thing, there are a lot of areas that, beats my imagination, how we need to ensure that
How we would implement it, right?
How we would implement it. Let me give you an instance. I was on a program, an advocacy program by BBC. And one of my opinion on that program was this. So in a community, if we have, for instance, community police, in a community, we know those who would cement trouble. And on the day of election, you allow them. Then you come back later and pick them up quietly for offenses which they committed. That way, people will be deterred. But if there's no will, political will, to have a semblance of a security situation that can be handled in the community aspect, my brother, no matter how glamorous and how well written the law sometimes is, what do you call it now? Enforcement would now become the problem. That is where I'll keep it for now. Thank you very much.
All right. Emmanuel.
Emmanuel, you see this law? Let Mr. President just accent the
Simple.
just let him append the signature. You see how it will work wonders.
You know how many laws we have in Nigeria, and every day we're adding new ones to
This
the ones that already exist.
These ones,
In fact, for most of them,
This one
the
is
president
targeted.
has to even use
Udoh.
executive orders.
This
to
one is
force
targeted.
you
them
see this law?
to get them
It's
working.
like I'm asking you to take 10 steps forward.
Charles, do you agree? Do you
You
agree
move
that
first
Nigeria?
step
Do you
one.
agree that Nigeria's
There's every
problem is not-
possibility that you will.
Do you agree that Nigeria's problem has never been a lack of laws? It has never been a problem. So I kind of share, where this guy is calling in are coming from.
Now,
Our problem has never been.
Now
Our laws already have
you're taking
provisions
me
to
back
deal
to
with-
2019.
Even before this bill, we had provisions to deal
Ugo, you're
with
taking me back to 2019.
offenses already.
I keep saying
I agree with you that we had